Hi, we're here with the Scion Showcase, the stream where a bunch of game writers and developers, most of whom work on Scion and don't get to play this game nearly enough, get to play this game. I'm Hiromi, they, them. I'm the line developer for Scion, as well as writer and developer for various Scion titles and loads of other games. I'm coming to you from Coast Salish, Stillaguamish, Snohomish, and Suquamish lands. I'm the story guide for this game, and now you're going to learn a little bit about my players. Michaela, tell us who you are, what you do, who you're playing, and how's the day going for you?
Hello, I'm Michele Masola, him. I'm a freelancer for Onyx Path, both as a writer and as a developer. I'm playing Elena Torns Rappaccini, they, them. Probably they are going to get themselves called Torns more often once the visitation happens. That's something that's been on my mind that I haven't spoke about with my fellow players here. My day is going well. It's been a cozy Sunday, so the Saturday and Friday weren't so good, but Sunday went well. So it's an improvement.
Oh, good. Jeffrey, tell us who you are, what you do, who you're playing, and how things are going.
Hello, I'm Jeffrey, he, him also, writer for Scion, and today playing Mitch Hewlett, the man who will move your couch and your heart. How is my day going? I woke up this morning to snow, and then I remembered I'm in Canada. That happens. It's springtime, and yeah. But now it's going much better because I've got a cat on my lap and I've got a game to play.
Awesome. David, tell us who you are, what you do, who you're playing, and how's it going?
My name is David Castro, he, them. I am a developer for Scion, and I write for Scion, a bunch of other Onyx Path games, and I do some other development for other games as well. I am playing Damien de la Cruz, who is a rich playboy with overwhelming amounts of audacity. My day has been very, very busy. I just got done with a big project, so otherwise it's been good.
Awesome. Cool. So before we get into recap, when I was planning this session, I realized that there would be things that might be upsetting for folks because police interrogations are designed to be upsetting. Like that's how they work. I'm not saying that my players are going to be interrogated today. They might. I'm not saying it right now because who knows what folks are going to do. But this is a good example of needing to have a safety check-in to make sure everything's going all right. And that like this is the thing that does not make people upset, make people so that they won't have fun. And because this is recorded, and that makes part of this public, we actually had most of this conversation offline because that's how you keep people safe. You don't spring questions on them while they're on camera. But for the sake of sort of modeling this behavior and showing folks how this goes, we're going to do it again. That way you see how it's done, and also you hear us telling you how to keep people safe, especially if you are also doing a streamed game or a recorded one. So how do folks feel about police interrogations, specifically your characters being interrogated and police being kind of up in your face and almost certainly lying to you for their benefit?
I don't think I'll have trouble with that, so it works for me.
Damien should be fine.
All right. Jeffrey?
Yeah, I think I'm generally okay, and I just realized there's one small issue that might come up, in that for various reasons I have a very adverse reaction to sort of, shouting and slamming your hands on the table to make a point, even in role playing.
Gotcha.
So with that in mind, though, the content of it, I'm absolutely okay with.
Okay, so are you okay with shouting and slamming hands on table happening off camera? Like, is that would that be a veil, or is that like not at all?
No, it's can absolutely happen, even if you're, so long as you as the player are not doing that. Even if you're just describing, he is shouting at you now, or he slams his hand on the table, that is perfectly okay.
Okay.
It's just the embodied version of it that I have some issues with.
All right. See, we did this once, and we're doing it a second time when we're still learning stuff. So this is why negotiating things and talking with your players to make sure that they feel comfortable with what's going on is important, because we do not perfectly understand our own brains, and things change. So like it's always worth checking in. So shouting / slamming hands on table can be actually, I guess I don't have to explain what it can be, because it's a veil, so it's permitted. It's just not something that we role play. Okay. And in this exact same vein, especially like police, especially during interrogations, are often very condescending and will use certain language like boy, son, kid, and sometimes words that are more harsh than that, but I'm not gonna get into slurs because I'm just fucking not. Are folks okay with that level of condescension?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And that, with that in mind, I think we have our safety tools in place, fairly good to go, which gets us to the beginning of session housekeeping, which this is session 3. So we've had 2 sessions before this. Probably should have had this mechanical housekeeping beforehand, but that didn't happen. That's okay. We have, or rather you have, because it's not my resource, it's player resource. You have 5 momentum. So again, for folks watching at home, momentum is a shared resource that the players have. They can use it to get an enhancement on something. They can use it to activate abilities if their abilities require momentum. There's a bunch of like one-off mechanics that use momentum, and we'll see if we run into any of them. Related to that, well, no, not related to that. Also a mechanical thing that is something that you should deal with each session if you can. Deeds. Has anyone accomplished a deed? Probably a short-term deed.
Nope.
No. Though I think if we're still on the idea that our first short-term deed would be something like form a heroic band, then if we're lucky, we might actually do that this session.
I would argue that you've already done it. Like, it might not necessarily be like a formal. It might not necessarily be a formal band, like it, like not necessarily one that's like, we're a team who's going to go off and do things. But you did stop a Titan spawn who was rampaging and threatening the lives of at least 6 people. Well, directly threatening the lives of at least 6 people, and indirectly threatening, I don't know. I didn't actually specify how many people I put in the museum. But if you had a short-term goal to form a heroic band, you have done so.
Okay, then I think I have. That was one of mine. So that's a short-term deed for me.
Awesome. Which means each of you who did that get an experience for that, or experience point. David, what's Damien's short-term deed?
To guide a soul to their underworld.
Okay. So I don't think that's happened yet, but that's all right. We can
it could have if we were more aggressive in that fight. It definitely could have if we just ganked her, but whatever. It's fine.
I was on a giant sword, so the risk was there for me as well.
Okay. And also, each session you should give folks, even if they haven't completed a deed, the option of making a new deed to like swap out one of those things. And this is because sometimes you start a story and you don't know where it's going to go because they're ad-libbing. I'm like 80% ad-libbing. No one has any idea where this thing's going to go. I have more of an idea than anyone else, but still not like total. So sometimes you'll want to swap out a deed, and that's just like a thing that you can do because everything is kind of a story in progress, including the stuff on your character sheet. So in addition to that, each of you also gets 2 experience points because you participated in 2 sessions. So that's easy enough to count. Yeah. All right. So some of you will have 3, some of you have 2. I don't think 3 is enough experience to let you buy anything cool, but you're on your way to buying something cool. And that's one of the ways that Scion diverges from other tabletop role-playing games, isn't that you use experience points directly as currency to get stuff that you want, as opposed to like trying to hit different levels which get you stuff.
Yay, Storypath.
Woo!
All right. So had our intro, had our check-in, had a little bit of housekeeping, and ideally we'll do housekeeping at the end of the sessions so that we can get the deeds figured out. And if it turns out that it makes more sense to do that at the beginning because that's when I remember to do it, then maybe that's what we'll end up doing. We'll have to figure out which format works best. But in the meantime, got so many pages. All right, so we had at the beginning of this, Damien was in New York City and found out that maybe they could get their hands on an artifact via a kind of sketchy contact by name of Victor. By quasi-legal means at the Museum of the City of New York. And the heist was kind of successful in that Damien has the artifact, but also as soon as Damien got his handles on the artifact, kind of stared at it and went, wow, those eye sockets are really deep. And then they were no longer in the Museum of the City. Helena was on a trip to get oil paints for their friend Chance. And in the process ended up playing a game of 3-card Monte. In that, they transformed a card in front of spectators to win the game and ended up with a coin, which does not look exactly like this, but you can't zoom in on it far enough to tell. So, you know, it looks exactly like that. And helped out some street kids who were getting hassled by transit cops and by a very Karen-y looking Karen. And then the Karen-y looking Karen threw them through an alleyway, and then they landed on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
Mitch was also trying to help folks, specifically trying to help folks at a museum with their friend Kazuyuki, who is a museum curator at the Boston Museum of Fine Arts. And there was a Karen-y looking Karen who was very sketchy and seemed like she might try and steal something. And Mitch very politely diffused her and kind of got her distracted, which worked out great until she became undistracted and then pulled out a sword and started, becoming a hurricane, which is not great. Damien recognized the sword as being very much associated with the Zemi Titan Huracan, which is the etymology of hurricane, and not to be confused with the Huracan, because they're related, but they're not, and they're not the same. There are differences that are meaningful and important to folks. Elijah rolled in, started helping. Mitch did his best to control Karen and get her to a less harmful state. Helena also helped first by hitting her in the head with a fire extinguisher, and then just keeping the sword from stabbing or slashing anyone. And Damien was doing a great job of getting people out so that the civilians didn't get cut by glass, and also letting people know, hey, that sword does stuff. You should do something about that sword, which helped out a ton, because once y'all got the sword out of Karen's hands, the hurricane dropped down to like a gentle breeze. So that made everyone's life a lot easier. Also, I forgot to write this in my notes, but that's okay. Just before all of that, Mitch also saw an item that was very absorbing, which was the star of Murugan, which is the Tamil name for Kartikeya. And looking into a star is great and horrifying because it's a star, it's really big, it's celestial, it's beyond the earth, and also it's a lot of fire. It's a lot of a lot. So like it's an experience, which is what Mitch had. And instead of ushering a soul to the underworld, y'all decided that maybe just disarm Karen, whose name is actually Karen Jameson. Get her calmed down, maybe get everyone out of the museum to a cafe to chill out and sort of decompress, which has been working out so far. I mean, there's a lot to decompress. Minor trauma all around. So, currently in the cafe still, Elijah had to roll out and take a call because he's a lawyer. So, you know, lawyers doing lawyer things. The rest of you three, you are in the cafe around the corner from the museum. Karen Jameson's there, Kazuyuki's there, Chuck is there. Chuck is the security guard. Oh, and Elijah had previously directed the beat cops who showed up to be like, no, it's just an HVAC problem. It's fine. Don't worry about it. What are folks doing?
Are we still with Karen?
Mm-hmm.
I am watching her like a no. What I'm doing is I want to ask her, where'd you get the sword from? How'd you end up with a sword?
So I have like a lot of side hustles, girl boss. I'm trying to make money and also make a difference. So I have lots of things like singing meditation bowls. I also have special yoga pamphlets that I wrote myself, and I don't actually remember where I got the sword. I know that it was with one of those. But by the way, if you would like to become a brand ambassador for any of my products, I would be happy to let you join. You get a discount on products. I also get some benefit. So it's kind of a win-win if you're interested. Singing bowls.
What do I have to roll to either gaslight or gatekeep this girl boss?
Oh my god.
She just pitched me a freaking MLM and I'm not having it. Yeah, this item isn't something that one picks up at a swap meet or at your Tupperware parties, lady.
So it's gonna depend a little bit on your approach. It sounds like from that you're going with kind of an occult or academics type thing. If you have a different approach that you would like to use,
I'm going with occult with my magic specialty from academics.
Nice.
Okay. And manipulation?
Potentially.
Or presence, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what would be the most appropriate, because you said that you wanted to gatekeep and be like, no, you can't. Which
that was mostly just because of the reference, but
oh, gotcha. I see.
Meme.
Yeah. But also, yeah, I am trying to get in, like, pull information out of her.
Okay. In that case, yeah, let's go with presence.
Presence in red, occult in and one enhancement from perfect poise, one enhancement from specialities. Two successes on dice, so 4 successes.
Nice.
And she fucking botches. She botches hard.
Ooh.
She has more ones than not.
That's
and no successes. Yeah.
You love to see it. You love to see it.
So this surprises probably everyone as her face gets whiter. Like, she just blanches and is like, I'm sorry. And like, you know, the I don't even remember what it's from, but like the gif of like a woman staring off into the middle distance as equations and geometric shapes start flying past. You see that, like, it's just her brain is currently in a loop, processing everything, and is not available for anything else right now, unless you interrupt it. But she is processing some complicated information that directly conflicts with her personally strong-held belief that she's not a bad person. So that's happening right now.
Lady, I asked you a question. Where'd you get the sword?
I'll check my notebook. Hold on. And she just like starts flipping through pages. I don't know why I'm gesturing off camera, because you can't see it when I can just actually flip the pages for you. Okay, I got it 3 months ago. I don't actually know where it came from. It arrived in my PO box, but it wasn't from one of my distributors. I thought it was. Free empathy check. She has no idea. She is very confused.
All right. Thank you.
So I don't. We're gonna talk about this whole thing that's happening, right? Like
what thing?
Well, see, the way I was raised is that if things like this start to happen, it means that someone around here is probably a hero. And give a look over to Damien at that point. You know, like the guy who's been carrying the big skull that we haven't said anything about. And just get this straight.
Listen,
this is awesome. This is the best day of my life. You're a hero.
This is another Tuesday, but don't talk about it. If you don't say nothing, it won't be nothing. You don't need to mention things like this artifact that we are not talking about.
Okay, got it. But do you need like helpers? I mean, pointing over at Helena, I mean, you're really strong. I saw what you were doing. You're really strong. And so you need a strong one. And the lawyer guy, he's the smart one. And Karen, you're the conflicted one we can't quite trust.
I'm not going to work with them.
What?
I don't want to work with Karen, please. Oh.
Karen isn't a part of this. This is, listen. Do I always have need of people of particular skills in my organization? Maybe. We can talk about employment opportunities when we're not amongst. And then I gesture vaguely to Karen, mixed company. But, not all of us are part of this, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think I sign up for anything like that, to be honest. Don't know how things work for you, Mitch, but I never had an experience with, let's say, mythical stuff. I can call it like that in a way that we all are on some page. Yeah.
I mean, neither have I. But,
okay.
Yeah,
because sword or not sword, she's still controlling the winds, and that's weird for me. So.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take that much of a leap of imagination to make a guess that something is going on. And, I've heard stories. I'm pretty sure a friend of mine dated a son of Heimdall, I think that was, for a week. But it's still weird for me, at least for today. And right now, I have no idea how to get back home for the evening, for starters. And this lady is controlling the winds, so it's still weird for me. Okay.
Oh, it's weird.
Baby steps for me.
You gotta admit, okay. It's a good weird, right?
No, it's weird for now. Good weird, we'll get to that later.
All right, puppy.
It's still up in the air at the moment.
I'm gonna need you to dial back the excited puppy for a bit. All right. Thanks.
All right. Yeah.
For Mitch, that's a resolve roll or something. And that's totally a compliment. I love him, absolutely. Don't take this as a criticism, because it's not.
Which is great.
I don't actually have empathy. I'm going to I said it that way on purpose. But like, is there a way to like see where Karen's at sort of emotionally, sort of like, is she keeping up with this conversation at all?
Um, I think that's probably probably going to end up being empathy and cunning for this particular situation.
Is there an argument to be had for leadership?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Because at least I have dots in leadership. I have no dots in empathy, which probably tells you all you need to know about this character. That is 2 successes with the 1 enhancement for perfect poise, so 3 successes.
Okay. Karen seems like she's following about half of what's going on. Like, when the idea of Hero is brought up, she seems excited about that. She's still processing the idea that she shouldn't have the sword, even though the sword seems to naturally enhance abilities that she has. So, like, she is highly conflicted and also interested in basically all possible outcomes, which is helpful for her because no matter what happens, she's probably going to have something that she's at least okay with. But she does not really have the wherewithal to steer this conversation in any direction. She is along for the ride. She basically, like, she seems like she basically understands what's happening, but yeah, she is much more quiet and introspective than anyone has seen. Granted, most of you have only seen her flipping out and throwing things around, but Mitch spoke with her for like 10 minutes earlier, and this seems much more interesting to you.
So what do we do now?
That's a really good question.
We leave her for 5-0 and get the hell out of here. What we do.
Yes, please. I was waiting for you to drop this woman and leave the place.
As you say that,
the evil GM word sentence.
2 people in very people in black suits enter. A kind of lean white woman and a like slightly bulkier than average black man. They both have very serious looks on their faces. You don't need to make a culture check to know that these people are probably either feds or they are police investigators of some capacity. And they immediately zero in on your table. The woman basically just goes straight for Chuck, while her partner is very clearly paying attention to you and also very conspicuously blocking the door. Like, also free check. You see the way that his back heel is up against the door. Like, he's keeping it shut so that people can't come in. And based on his posture, it looks like he's also set up so that if he needs to run forward, he's going to push off the door and get basically like a starting block type of effect.
Okay.
And now I need to remember what Chuck's last name is.
All I know
as we
is he
say
has a husband and
this,
3 kids.
yeah.
Security guard named Chuck rings some bells.
As we say this, or see this, I sort of do the sort of speaking while moving my lips as little as possible sort of thing of nobody talks, nobody saw or did anything, nobody talks.
I just
Sound advice.
nod a little bit, just enough for Damien to notice that, and nothing more.
Mitch will answer with a slight pout.
And it turns out, while I gave Chuck a backstory, I never actually give him a last name. So he's getting the most Boston name I can think of off the top of my head. He is Chuck O'Shea. Chuck O'Shea, you're under arrest for grand theft. The rest of you, I'm going to need you to come with me, get your statements. You are being detained. You may not leave. I need you to come with me.
Are we being arrested?
You're being detained. You may be arrested as pursuant to this.
I do my not quite to the level of our story guides card tricks, but the card trick I've been doing where there's now a business card in my hand with my lawyer's number on it. And this is probably a bad idea, but here I am doing it anyway. Me and my associates, you may contact my lawyer about anything you'd like to ask me or my associates. I gesture to these two, pointedly leaving out Karen. Karen has her own lawyer right now.
Yeah.
True.
No, you can call your lawyer and you can have your lawyer meet us. We're going to the security office of the museum. Mr. O'Shea, put your hands behind your back.
Is Chuck the person who I paid to hide the sword?
Yes.
God, I hope it's not next to that. Oh, this is my fault. Probably. I don't know. I tell Chuck, don't answer any questions until my people get here. Don't talk to them. We will handle this. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I would like to do a thing.
Okay. What
I'm
thing
not
would you like to
exactly
do?
sure what the system is for this thing, but I would like to invoke one of my paths to declare a contact.
Okay.
I would like to invoke my origin path, wealthy playboy, to say I have a lawyer on retainer who has offices in most major cities, including Boston, or at least most major cities on the East Coast. So I have a lawyer to call.
It's a good move. Because that avoids a future problem that might have come up. So good job.
Okay. I have no lawyer to call, probably because, yeah, I'm a little bit removed from my area. And since they didn't even give me the time to ask if I was being detained, because they said so immediately, I think Elena is gonna, after looking for perhaps open windows for a brief second and stuff like that, because the idea passes in my mind for a second. Actually, are there any open windows right now, just to make sure? It's so I can look at my athletic dice pool and make uneducated guess about what's
Similarly bad choices.
You do not see any open windows here.
It's fair. It's fair. Yeah.
Like there's an employee's area in the back that you haven't investigated, because it's an employee's area and the employees would have been like, what the fuck are you doing?
Okay.
There might be an exit out the back there. You do not know that.
I will say this. All windows can be open if you have enough will.
Yeah, of course. That's true. Well, I'll curse myself between my teeth because I let my guards down because I was a little stressed by the day, and so that's something. But I'll just groan and go with the officer right now and think that I'll handle whatever has to come as it happens. As it also happened across the whole day, so we'll deal with this as well.
Okay.
And I don't call anyone because I don't have anyone to call.
I'm calling lawyers for all of us.
Oh, okay. That's appreciated.
Is Mitch doing anything before these agents guide everyone back to the museum?
They declare what? Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I think, I'll sort of pat Chuck on the shoulder and say, look, it's going to be all right, man. You didn't steal anything. It's obviously just some sort of mistake. And then get up from the table that we're sitting at least so the guy leaning against the door can get a relative comparison of our sizes. Mitch is big. And just, not trying to intimidate, just to say, oh, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, Mitch is larger by I don't know.
Ahead, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did they
not
declare
close.
what organization they work for?
They didn't. They did, however, flip a badge out very, very quickly. Does anyone want to try either culture and cunning or culture and an intellect?
I can do culture and intellect.
I guess subterfuge would also work, mainly because people who do subterfuge would like to know what law enforcement's like.
It's all the same. It's
Okay.
it's all the same dice pool for me. I'm going through this through subterfuge though.
Okay.
That is 3 10s, so let me re-roll those.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's 3 successes plus the 1 enhancement from Perfect Poise, so 4 successes.
I got 2.
I got none.
Okay.
Probably didn't even notice the bad flashing.
Mitch is a good boy and has not done anything wrong.
Yeah, it
That's
was
momentum.
fast, and you were probably more focused on keeping Chuck safe. Helena and Damien, on the other hand, recognize the badge, or at least recognize the symbol on it. These are from the These folks are from the Supernatural Crimes Unit, which is actually a type of police unit that's across the world, really. Each jurisdiction may or may not have a SCU. In this case, Boston's SCU is technically a state police organization, but because Massachusetts is not a very large place, they're based out of Boston because it makes the most sense, and if they're needed elsewhere in the state, they can go there pretty easily. But these are state police officers, and they are supposed to be investigating supernatural crimes and a hurricane blowing out a museum, and an apparent theft also qualifies.
Okay. I also have, I think, a version of them shows up in the Titan and Nomaki scenario because there are supernatural crimes there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Elena reads that and she'll just go, because she's they are the kind of person, just go, Mulder, Scully, let's roll, like that. And move on.
I'm on the phone with my lawyer. I mentioned that they're from the SCU. And then my lawyer tells me out of what, like, precinct or whatever they're typically headquartered out of, and that they will meet us there.
The SCU said that they were taking you to the museum security office, and from there, they would go someplace else. Or rather, they haven't said that because they don't need you to know that information. So I'm assuming that your lawyer is told to either go to the museum or to go to where SCU is usually based out of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does anyone try to make a break for it?
No.
No.
Okay.
I'm not a fast man, and I'm still carrying a massive rock.
Yeah. Chuck gets handcuffed, hands behind his back. Karen also gets handcuffed, hands behind her back. She seems probably more upset about that than like anything else that has happened so far, which is really weird because she's eaten a fire extinguisher. So seeing where her priorities are on upsetness, fire extinguisher to the face, being arrested.
Sounds about white.
While the SCU and several beat cops who were originally just going to write this up as an HVAC problem, kind of the HVAC folk, or the beat cops are just kind of maintaining a perimeter, and also one of them is just sort of following the SU around, trying and failing to seem as though they are relevant to the situation. The local cops, the Boston cops, they're the sergeant on the scene would like to be important and is not, but that doesn't stop him from trying to be. And while the white woman pulls Chuck away from everyone else, I'm not even going to make you roll. It's a police interrogation, and everyone is in the same general area. You can kind of hear what's going on. And there is a bit of shouting and banging on things, which, since I know that I shouldn't role play through, I'm not going to. And instead, I'm just going to say, this is happening. And Chuck is loud out of a certain amount of panic, is what you can kind of hear. Is saying, like, I only make $44,000 a year, and that's before taxes, and my rent for my husband and my kids is $31,000 a year. I'm not paid enough to watch these artifacts, especially not after I'm being traumatized. So you admit that you had motive to steal the Star of Murukan. What? What are you talking about? I was here when something happened. The windows blew out, and then we went to the cafe. And you went straight there. Yeah. Most of you, your internal monologue is probably like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Chuck.
I told him not to fucking talk.
Yeah. He, however, is someone who works in physical security and is used to police being on his side. And it's hard to work against that, even when you really fucking should.
Mm-hmm.
And you, as that's going on, you see a relatively nice car pull up, and man in a like clean not upper crust, but like upper crust academia, like trying to think who would probably recognize that.
I would.
Damien would. Jeffrey would. I don't know if Mitch would.
Mitch would not, but I know the look.
Yeah, so like this person comes in, or this man comes in, and he doesn't look like he is of money, but rather has money and is important. Kazu immediately fixates and like Kazu's not handcuffed, so like he's gesticulating and the man in the suit just sort of waves dismissively. It does not take much to figure out that this is probably Kazuki's boss, which means this is probably the director of the entire museum. And the black agent like immediately just like sidebar starts talking with him, and the director Williams, the agent Williams, the black agent, are gonna go to the security office, which it doesn't like that's where Chuck's being interrogated, but it also looks like they're not there to help with the interrogation. They're there, they want to go there for something else. And they keep glancing over at Kazuki like they're not sure whether or not to include him. What are folks thinking?
Are we being surveilled right now? Are we free to do what we want to do in so long as we don't leave?
Pretty much. I mean, there's still the cameras that are in basically almost everywhere in the museum. If you tried really hard, you might be able to find spots where cameras don't have good coverage. Or if you tried hard, you could create them. But yeah, you're currently under electronic surveillance. There's enough beat cops wandering around, not really doing anything productive, that like they're paying attention vaguely to you. Although, again, if you tried, you could probably make them not pay attention or do something that they can't see.
I am going to direct my representation to meet us here instead, as we've been here for a minute now. I don't know if we're ever going, or if we're going to be moved anytime soon, so I am directing them to meet us here. If they're going to be holding apparent interrogations here as opposed to in a proper police station, then he has his insert amendment right here for representation.
Okay. It looks like the sidebar conversation between Spectre and the not Spectre.
Is he the Spectre? Oh no.
No, the other agent is Spectre. In my head, I was like, Spectre and the director, because that just sounds cool, but that's not who I put. That's not who I put with the director.
I feel like the Spectre could be in a Scion game. That'd be interesting.
So Williams and the director seem to be having kind of intense conversation about what their the agents are allowed to access. as well as how much it's in the museum's benefit to facilitate the investigation. And Kazuyuki gets kind of dragged into that, and free empathy check. He is over his head. Kazuyuki is not used to dealing with police and is definitely not used to being on the wrong side of them. So while Kazu is part of the conversation, he's kind of not. Go ahead and actually, let's go this way. Mitch, roll 4 dice for no apparent reason.
I love doing that. It would be 1 success.
Okay. You hear tires screeching outside, and all of the sudden, there's a taxi with like Damien's lawyer standing outside, looking a little shocked, but then also like trying to immediately play it down, like, yeah, this is what I meant, and then like striding confidently in. The beat cops outside are defensive and try to move towards him for like a split second before recognizing who he is and going, oh, fuck it. So Damien's lawyer, who happened to be in Boston, is not always in Boston, but has offices here, and was just hopped in a cab, and it just turned out for some wild reason that that cab driver just hauled ass. No one knows why. It's
how fortuitous.
The lawyer needs a name.
I'm trying very hard to not picture Johnny Cochran in my brain, but that is definitely who I am picturing in my brain.
Well, I was thinking Saul Goodman, so yeah, that's even worse. My choice.
I'm not going to try and do a Johnny Cochran impression.
No, no one should. It's never good.
No.
Let's call him Vincent.
I like Vincent. Vincent's good. Vincent Carmichael III.
Fancy.
Esquire.
Which is actually true, because he's a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And see, I was going to give him the nickname of the Hammer, because recently watched a YouTube video that explains just how many lawyers out there have branded themselves as the Hammer of a certain jurisdiction. There are a lot of them. There are a shockingly large number of them, and some of them have copyright and trademark disputes with each other because they have commercials that are shot for shot identical.
And there are also a bunch of lawyers calling themselves the Hammer, so yeah.
Vincent Carmichael III, Esquire, just boldly strides up to Agent Williams and Director Parker, and he is loud, he gesticulates, and he starts presenting an argument that if anyone's being accused of something, that they have the right to that evidence before it is tainted by any other procedures, so that and that Vincent is certified as an legal observer, and he is equipped to participate in this fully. The Agent Williams isn't quite on board with this, citing a potential conflict of interests. However, Elijah rolls in and directly asks if he's being charged with anything, if he's under suspicion. And Williams is mad because Elijah's not. And so Vincent's like, why don't you have this? Why don't you have this person be a legal observer to make sure that your evidentiary procedures are handled correctly? You're not suspecting, you don't suspect him, and I'm not representing him. So clearly there's no conflict, and you have to agree. And Williams is pissed, but it's true. So Elijah's gonna wheel into the security office with Agent Williams and Director Parker. Would anyone like to do something as Elijah wheels past you?
Oh, well, have a look at my next, because I have one that could be helpful here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
Likewise.
okay.
What's the system to changing what your active knack is? Is this something that gets done at, I don't know, the version of Scion's end of a long rest, whatever sort of deal?
It's supposed to happen between scenes. So
okay.
If between the cafe and here you wanted to swap, then that would make sense. So like there's been a scene break, is what I'm saying.
Okay, I have actually picked as my judge knack the truth arises. So if I engage with the conversation with an alleged perpetrator of a crime, I can have them leak a piece of information connecting them to the crime. The question is, would Elijah have information to reveal in this case? Because the knack suggests to ask the story guide before going for it. Otherwise, I wouldn't go meta like this. Basically, I'm trying to take some heat off of us like that. If you'd like to have a look, it's on page 109 of Origins.
Yeah.
Because Origins.
You wouldn't be able to use it with Elijah, but you could use it on Chuck, and then Fate would get information to you in a way that is basically the same.
Because Elijah isn't directly involved in anything illegal at the moment. At least that I know of.
Yet.
Is that correct?
Yes. Elijah is not currently a suspect.
Okay.
So yeah, go ahead and make that roll.
I don't know. Can I make an empathy roll to get a general idea of the kind of person Chuck is? Because I don't want to throw him into trouble like that.
Absolutely.
Just to avoid some trouble myself. Okay. So empathy is clear, and you'd say that's intellect to figure it out, or composer to analyze him. What do you think works best in your assessment, of course?
I would actually say intellect.
Intellect, okay. My dice pool isn't that good, so is it alright if I spend one momentum just to add a little bit of help in there? Okay, thank you. This is a 10. The 10 became a 9, so it's 2 successes.
All right. Was anyone else doing something? It looked like Jeffrey was excited.
I'm always excited. Okay. So I will try to do this quickly. While Mitch is not aware of it, I have a vague sense that the reason that that lawyer got here so quickly was maybe because Mitch's secret follower was the person in the taxi. Who knows? In any case, since he's just had a brush with the supernatural today, it's probably time for his bodyguard to kick in a little bit. Which, in this case, would mean Val has the keen-eyed predator knack as power, which lets them, and therefore me, ask a question about hunt-related things in the scene. Essentially, I would just like to make a roll so that, if necessary, Val will know the quickest way to get me out of this building. So it would be a knack skill roll, and this is where I get confused. Well, not confused, but only thrown off a bit because we're messing with the rules slightly to make this an unconscious command rather than a conscious one.
Yeah.
Would it just be treated?
Which knack was that?
Sorry, keen-eyed predator, which is probably page 108 of Origin, bottom of the left column.
Okay.
So I know for followers, it essentially says treat them like living equipment. So should I just roll as if I were doing that? And even though Mitch won't get the information, at least it's set up in the background, maybe to make something easier in the future.
Yeah. That'll be all right. Go ahead and roll. Because you get one for free.
Mm-hmm.
That question was,
what's the quickest way for Mitch specifically, because his bodyguard doesn't care about anyone else, to get out of here?
So
I think it's the nearest exit or something like that. Yeah, not necessarily the safest exit. I mean, if it's like, oh, the fire door right over there, then I really need a better class of bodyguard.
okay. Amusingly enough, this is something that I've actually pre-planned.
Ooh,
Would you like me to surprise you when it happens?
surprise me.
Okay. Then that's a thing that has shifted from could happen to will definitely happen. Did you want to roll and find out any other information?
Yeah, because there's a lot of good stuff that you can get with that. Let me just work out what I would be rolling. I'm guessing cunning plus.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be cunning based.
Yeah, I have no idea what.
I would probably say survival, but like
Yeah.
other things would also make sense.
Okay, I'll go for survival and hope for the best. Oh, if only I were swimming my way. Okay. Got one success.
Okay. That'll get you one more question.
One more question. Yeah, who is the biggest threat in here?
Me. Wahaha.
Kind of depends on
Define threat.
yeah. So for expediency's sake,
mm-hmm.
I am going to say the SCU agents, mainly because you are already aware that Karen is physically dangerous beyond what she looks like.
Okay, thank you.
So you gain new information as opposed to just going, yeah, Karen could beat someone up really badly by herself.
I was just expecting to look over at Helen and go, huh.
I mean, that was also a possible answer, but I don't think it would be a helpful answer, which is why I'm going like, no, it's Williams Inspector.
Okay, thank you. And again, it lets me plan for the future.
Okay. Williams, Director Parker, and Elijah all go to the security room, which interrupts the yelling at Chuck, and Chuck and Spectre come out. Chuck is free empathy check. Chuck, you thought Chuck looked shell-shocked before when his life was in mortal peril. He's beyond that now, because he thought he was safe, and now his world's kind of crumbling. Spectre seats Chuck away from you, but it doesn't look like they're taking much care to prevent you from talking to them, from talking to Chuck. It's just by the virtue of how people are being seated, discouraged. Helena invoked their path, or not the path, the Mac to get Chuck to leak information. And the way that works is that as Chuck was leaving the security office, he accidentally dropped his phone, and Mitch's phone starts ringing. And
hey, what's up, Chuck? I just wanted to say that.
What's up, Jack?
You immediately start hearing the other voices in the security office. You hear the sound of an electric wheelchair kind of like rolling on top of you, it sounds like. And then you hear director Garrett Hunter Parker Jr. Okay, let's see the tape. Roll it back. What happened to the star? And because it's a phone call, you can't see the video, but there's a bit of gasp. There's a bit of gasping going on. I can't believe that Chuck would steal museum property. That is, it's very upsetting. Elijah's trying to throw in various legal defenses and is demanding a copy of it, which the Spectre provides. Not Spectre, Parker, Director Parker provides. But from the sound of everything, it sounds like they have Chuck on video taking the star. And does he have the star on him now? No, that I need to differentiate voices more.
Hello?
Nah, he doesn't have it on him. Okay. Let follow him. Where did he ditch it? And they're not sure. He just sort of went into a spot where the cameras can't follow, and then vanished. And going like scrubbing back and forth in the timeline, unless there's like a hidden door out of the museum, he should have popped back up on cameras. And it seems to create more questions than it really answers from a what really happened perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But from a legal evidentiary standpoint, it sounds really fucking bad for Chuck.
Is this call on speakerphone so we can all hear or no?
Just about to
Okay.
So, yeah, you.
Quiet speakerphone, but certainly gesture to both Helena and Damien to join in. Okay.
I go over.
Here's the thing. Okay, so there's this really shiny like piece up in the gallery that. Okay, so earlier when I came in, I talked to the Karen first, and I was helping Kaz out, and so after that he said, hey, thanks a lot. There's this new exhibit that I want to take you to alone, and it's this artwork where people are really free with their bodies, and I think you'd like it a lot if you and I went there. But anyhow, no, not important. So then there was this really shiny star in there, and they're talking about the star of Mulligan, and it's gone. But they think that Chuck did it. But I was in that room with Kaz just before everything started happening out here, so Chuck wouldn't have had time to go into that room, steal it, and get out and hide it. I hope people at the other end of this phone can't hear what I just said to everybody. Set the phone down. Well, I mean, Chuck's phone isn't going to be on speakerphone.
Give me subterfuge and cunning.
Oh no!
And
you want subterfuge? Okay.
Yeah, I want the golden retriever to roll subterfuge and cunning. However, Elijah is on top of the phone, and that is going to give you a 2 enhancement.
Okay. Would you like to burn some momentum?
I was just asking. I could raise my dice pool by 50% if I burn a point of momentum.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, so that puts me up to 3 dice. Just make sure.
Strong.
Yeah.
Strong.
Strong like bull, smart like streetcar.
You can always get your momentum back.
One of them is a 10.
Okay.
And then it's not a 10 or a success. So I got 1 success, which I guess pushes it up to 3.
Oh God. Okay.
Yes.
The suspense.
The temptation to voluntarily fail on that. But...
No, don't do it.
So, to continue the suspense, they rolled 3. You may be fine, except 2 of them are 10s, which means I need to re-roll those. It's a 3. It's a 6. You're good.
Meter beats. Nice. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to make the Antonio Banderas on the computer.
So Mitch is like, mute. Yes. Yeah, you.
So these guys are supernatural cops, and they don't even have. And then I rattle off the name of a few of the anti shape-shifting computer things that definitely don't work that I got off the dark net. They don't even have this. Obviously your guy ain't about that life. So
he's a nice guy. That's good.
So I don't know what's happening. I think somebody's trying to string up your friend. But if he would just shut the fuck up, he'd be in 50% less trouble right now. I
Okay.
am going to say, is Vincent in there with them slash
Uh,
us? I don't remember if we're in there with
no,
them.
Vincent didn't go in. Vincent has been spending this time advising Chuck to shut the fuck up.
Good. Okay.
Would you like to roll for Vincent on his ability to convince Chuck to
Certainly.
shut the fuck up?
What should I roll for that?
So ordinarily it would not be a huge dice pool because contacts effectively have their own ratings. But since this is a relatively basic thing, and this is something that you have already directed Chuck to do, and Elijah has already directed Chuck to do, just gonna have you roll 6 dice on this. Ordinarily would be much lower because Vincent is probably rating 1 or 2, but there's plenty of things in your favor here.
8 or better, right? Okay. 2 successes.
Okay. Yeah. Chuck was looking and is still looking fairly shell-shocked, but is now nodding vigorously. And Vincent the Hammer Carmichael III Esquire is going on a long chunk of exposition explaining what bad things happen to good, ordinary, kind folks, hardworking, salt of the earth folks when they do not use their legal rights. And yeah, Chuck is just like nodding vigorously. He gets it, and it seems like things are not getting better, but they've stopped getting worse.
That's good.
Small favors.
Yeah. And with that sort of change in fortunes, gonna take a short break. And for folks watching this, there's no delay. You're gonna see us right back in right about right now. Okay. So over the break, we or rather David learned something very fun about character sheets.
Apparently, for the origin sheet on the contact list, it's just long enough to put Vincent the Hammer Carmichael III Esquire. So that's delightful.
Perfect character sheet. All right. So
You love to see it.
The aforementioned Vincent the Hammer Carmichael III Esquire has just finished counseling Chuck to shut the fuck up and stop talking to the police because Chuck is not getting himself out of trouble that way. Elijah, Agent Williams, and the director are coming out of the security office. It looks like Elijah is making a subtle detour past Chuck, and the whole time this is happening, the three of you hear phone handling sounds, and the sound of the electric wheelchair gets louder. And it doesn't take a lot to realize what's going on. It seems extremely likely that Elijah spotted the phone, covered it with his wheelchair, and has picked up the phone and is moving it.
A comrade always.
So you've just heard, and Elijah apparently has a thumb drive copy of. Actually, he'd probably just put it on his phone. He'd probably do both and stick one. Yeah, actually, Elijah has a copy on his phone and makes Agent Williams provide an evidentiary bag to put the thumb drive in and seal it. Using police evidence collecting procedures to ensure that they can't say shit about that particular video.
Chain of command.
Yeah. I considered using my neck to make Elijah confess stuff out of context to confuse everyone, but this is working out very much better than that. It's also rude to put other player characters into trouble like that. So
don't do that.
I really didn't want to do that.
Especially when Spider's not here to defend himself against the shenanigans.
So I throw the idea away immediately. So I'm glad it's working out in another way.
Yeah, that knack is very handy, as it turns out, because there's more than one way for someone to implicate themselves, especially if you're more or less in control of how that information gets out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably everyone involved who needs to know that information knows it now, but you have your own control.
Much better.
So Chuck, actually, you know what? Because Spider's not here, and because it was Helena's knack that made this happen, Michaela, do you want Chuck to get his phone back?
Yes, he's having a rough day, so let's do that. As long as it doesn't cause, because I was parsing my options there, so I sounded more mean than I actually wanted to, but I don't want to either Elijah or Chuck to get into that much of a trouble for these behind the scenes shenanigans and stuff.
Cool. So yeah, Elijah does a quick, hey, I need you to pay attention and you need to listen to what I'm doing. And sorry, I need to make sure my other hand's in camera. So both Chuck and Agent Spectre are paying attention to Elijah's right hand, which means they're not paying attention to Elijah's left hand, which slips the phone into Chuck's pocket. And then Elijah joins the rest of you. And I'm not going to roleplay Spider's character, but you get confirmation that what you thought you heard in that Chuck, or someone who looks exactly like Chuck, stole the star and then vanished. That did happen, or at least was recorded on camera that way. Karen is getting stir crazy. no, I don't want to use the term crazy. She is getting agitated. And you don't think that she's going to go into the same kind of berserker rage that she had earlier, but it looks like if things got a little bit worse, they would. Or rather, if things got worse, she would. So while you're being detained, you're not free to leave, but no one's making you stay where you are. Is there anything that you would like to do at this point? Like, there's the exhibit hall where the star of Mudigan was. There's Chuck. There's the two agents. There's Karen. There are options. Potentially too many options, which can cause decision paralysis, but you know.
I have an idea.
Okay.
I still have my phone, right?
Yep.
So I am going to load up a Tor browser on my phone because I recently learned those are a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to try and see what there is to find out about the star.
Okay.
I think it would be either occult or technology. I want to say occults and
Probably
intellect.
Occult. Yeah, I mean,
I do have
way,
a
I think either way would work.
specialty. Yeah, I do have a specialty in deep web research and, you know,
Okay.
magic. So
Awesome.
I'll use one of those.
All right.
It's 4 dice plus 4 dice. Or 8 dice total. That's 8, right? Yeah.
It's a hefty dice pool.
2 successes.
Okay.
So with my enhancement, 3 successes.
All right. So, you don't get this information directly from the tour information because the star is not yet part of an official exhibit. However, it had a little bit of information in the coming soon area, which let you sort of do parallel research to track down more info. It was originally found in the Ganges River Valley. So there's kind of a big chunk of the Indian subcontinent that it could have came from. It is from Tamil-speaking region, or at least was first known by Tamil-speaking people. Which is why it's specifically referred to as the Star of Murugan instead of the slightly more, at least in the West, well-known name of Kartikeya, which they are, one's a mantle of the other, and which is which depends on who you are and how you're asking. So I don't think 2 successes is going to give you any
3 successes.
Oh, sorry, 3. Right, the enhancement for your specialty. Yeah, no, that's still
That's
not
fine.
information that mortals are probably going to know. And while Damien's not immortal, he doesn't know that. Actually, I think technically he is immortal right now. but gives you enough of a sort of picture that this is a deity that's commonly associated with leadership and is often represented by star, sort of showing that there is this martial leadership. So like it's not just leadership in general, it's more tied towards martial leadership, but that doesn't mean that that's all Mudigan cares about, because been around a while, plenty of time to have diversity of interests. The star itself, there's not a lot known about any sort of occult properties for it. Anybody who, like the few people that you've seen like sort of write about it, who would ordinarily know something about magic or occult, they are pretty sure that it has properties. They have no idea what they are, aside from like a few people getting really interested in looking at it. But not everyone gets really interested in looking at it. And it's not clear what causes that.
Interesting.
And depending on whether or not you share this information with the group, may change whether or not Mitch would like to opine on it, because that's what happens.
I give this all of this information with the caveat of, but so like everything that you just said, and then amended with, but I don't know why anyone would steal this. It doesn't make any sense for, like, it's not, there's value to it, but there's no monetary value that I can see. I don't understand why somebody would steal this, much less a nominally good guy from, you know, a blue collar background.
I don't, like I say, I mean, Mitch, Chuck is just a really decent guy, always has been. And I mean, I can't imagine someone just like stealing something out of a museum, you know, just because they want. Wait, maybe lower my voice a bit. Maybe that's what Karen came here for. Like she really, really wanted something, but she didn't know what. So maybe she came here to take it. And that's really all I've got. But it's that, when I was looking at it with Kaz, he didn't really seem to notice that it's different. But you picked up on it right away. Because you're the hero. So,
I'm gonna need you to get all the way off my back about this hero nonsense.
Okay, right. Sorry.
But that's fine. This has been a day of weird shit and weird items. I gesture towards the skull stone thing I still have. That nobody's taken from me. I don't know what's happening, but I still have this giant stone skull thing. And then the sword, which nobody seems to care about. And then this weird star. This is So here's the thing. I could theoretically put feelers out to see if there's something like this, let's say, on the market, theoretically, hypothetically, if we wanted to do such a thing, and maybe that would help your friend out.
Yeah, that sounds good. Like a mastermind.
Because like Boston isn't New York, but it's not that far away that the marketplace for such things wouldn't be connected.
Yeah.
And for those playing at home and maybe not keeping up with me side talking about a bunch of things, I want to see if anybody's trying to fence this thing. So that maybe we can prove that Chuck didn't steal the thing by finding who did, or at least who's trying to sell it. If we're down with me doing that.
I'm down with that. So, just a sort of rules clarification.
Mm-hmm.
Could you do that by tapping another path? If you've got something that's appropriate for those sorts
which
of
I do.
connections. And
Yeah.
just do a, like, I don't know, connections or access rather than a specific contact.
Yeah. So I'm going to invoke my roll path, Delver into the Weird. That's how I wrote it.
Yeah, that is a very applicable path.
To see, to basically contact my normal people, to put out feelers for and then description of the star here. I'm going to, I don't know what attribute to use. I'm going to assume it is either occult or subterfuge, probably subterfuge.
Yeah, you're looking for fences, so subterfuge.
But I don't know what attribute to apply here at all. Presence, I don't know.
Probably present, either presence or cunning. So like it would kind
I'll
of
take cunning.
shape your approach. Like
Cunning's better.
Yeah. If you go with cunning, then it's more of a finding out as much information as you can from relatively limited sources. Presence would be more convincing your connections to give you the information. So like
Presence would be the way I do that.
Okay.
He says, putting back one die. Actually, no. Is it okay if I burn momentum on this?
For me, it's
What?
I'm keeping track of the momentum on my sheet at least.
Awesome. I want to say you're at 2, but I could be
We're
wrong.
down.
We're at 2 now, yes.
Okay.
Does that give me extra dice or does that give me a enhancement? I forget.
Gives you an extra die.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because you're using connections, you get +2 dice anyways.
Oh, dope.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Two successes.
Okay.
nice.
So you do not find anyone or any information on someone trying to fence it. However, the folks that you ping for information do know that someone yesterday was asking about this exact thing. Like where it might be arriving, because the Star was a relatively recent acquisition. So like it hasn't actually been put into an official exhibit yet. Like the exhibit's still being built. So you don't have a name, but you do have not code name. What the hell am I thinking?
Nickname?
Doesn't matter.
Nickname, alias,
Epithet.
Alias. Sure.
porn star name.
Nom de plume. I feel like they could just keep going forever.
Stage name.
Unhelpfully, the alias is Mrs. Johnson.
Oh, wonderful, great.
But because you have the 2 successes, you not only have the name, but you also know that there's you have an additional fact about her that I will figure out at a later time.
Noted.
So,
and a fact to be named later.
Yeah, like, yeah, you have it. Essentially, you have a lead and a clue that will get filled in and get you closer to the real thief.
Dope.
And because you've already openly speculated that it must have been a shape changer, everything you've seen and that Elijah has, or rather, everything you've heard and that everything that Elijah said, and actually Elijah has the video on his phone, so you've all seen it. It does look like Chuck, but also
it would if it was a shape changer.
Chuck, yeah, it would for a shape changer, and also Chuck was useless in the fight. You suspect that if Chuck had the ability to shape change or teleport or anything like that, it probably would have already come up.
Oh no, I think the person who stole it is not Chuck and is shape-shifting as Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So you've figured that information out in like this fun sort of parallel investigation. Damien gets a phone call. This number is shows up on caller ID as NYPD.
The ring tone for it doesn't make sense, but I'm making the joke anyway. The ringtone for this call is the chorus to somebody's watching me. Anyway, continue. I pick up the phone, sorry.
Is this Damien Dela Cruz
speaking?
Yeah, this is Detective Williamson. were you at the Museum of the City of New York earlier today?
This is out of character. I am of two minds, and I would like to elicit the band to see what I should do. I either lie and say, no, I'm in Boston because I am currently in Boston, but I am definitely on a camera in that museum earlier today. Not long enough so that there'd be no plausible way of me traveling from New York to Boston and be here detained by Boston police or by Massachusetts State Police, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm going with, that I am definitely in Boston and was definitely not in that museum today. Does that sound cool? Is that what...
Yeah. Just shapeshifters all over the place today. That's the story I think you should go for.
Always blame the shapeshifter.
Always blame the shapeshifter.
It's always shapeshifters. It's always scrolls. It's always scrolls.
It's all scrolls. Oops, all scrolls.
No, detective. I am currently in Massachusetts. I'm in Boston right now. I'm actually currently being detained on a unrelated matter as a witness to something that happened here by Massachusetts State Police. Would you like to speak to them?
Yes, I would.
I definitely go past the phone over to the female cop.
Okay.
I don't know why. I'm just...
Sure. Yeah, you hand it off to Spectre, and there is an animated discussion.
I bet.
Hey, Jeffrey, would you like to roll 4 dice for no reason?
Oh, I would love to.
Every now and then that happens.
Definitely no reason at all. Won't affect anything.
Exactly.
No. Only one success, but it's a 10. Let's see. Nope, so one success.
You hear, everyone hears the whoop whoop of a police siren being kicked up a few times. And then you see the unmarked, obviously the SCU car, like peel out about 20 feet, do a donut, and then keep going.
What?
And Spectre, who still has your phone, and Williams haul ass outside, which is very easy because all of the glass in their way is gone. They grab one of the uniformed officers' cars, peel out after it, and the rest of the police are just baffled. And we're going to end there.
Me minus one phone.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun.
There was a hidden complication there. That was it. So you have a very good window, or rather door, where you can depart. And since none of you are actually under arrest, with the exception of Chuck and Karen, you could leave, potentially. But they still have your fucking phone. And they're on the call with NYPD. So sort of
seemingly their car has been stolen.
Did anyone achieve any of their deeds this session?
Not today.
Not that I am aware of.
All right. In that case, we'll go around the table real fast to remind folks of who we are, what we do, and where they can find stuff. And Michaela had a thing. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, we'll start with Michaela anyways. So who are you? What do you do? Do you have anything to promote? I think this goes out after.
I think we are done by the time this goes on there. So hello, I'm Michele Masola from Italy. I always say that I'm from the place where Disney's Luca happens. Okay, so that's the right direction. I'm a writer and developer for Onyx Path Publishing, and I think we have just finished our Kickstarter for They Came from the Cyclops' Cave and They Came from Classified. You'll probably be able to check both games on Baker Kit soon if I have got my timeline right. I hope that went well because I have ideas and book to pitch for the future, so that would be great. Other than that, I'm also wrote a supplement for Christmas movies. They Came from the North Pole. You can find it on the Storypath Nexus. And other than that, I'm working on stuff under NDA right now, so my mouth is zipped.
Nice. Jeffrey, who are you? What have you been doing? And anything to promote?
Let's see. Yeah, I am Jeffrey in the wilds of Canada and writer for Scion. It's been ages since I've done anything else. A lifetime ago. What do I want to promote these days? I have two things that I can't talk about, but are both for Scion. I think maybe three. I don't know. And otherwise, I just want to. Well, I hope that you will all supported the double feature Kickstarter because both They Came from the Cyclops Cave and They Came from Classified are genre that are dear to my heart. And just look at how lovely Michaela is. You've got to support that.
Yeah.
So,
Michaela happy.
That's all for me.
David, who are you? Where can we find your stuff and throw money at you?
I am David Castro. He, they. I am at The Inked Knight on Twitter. I am on Patreon at patreon.com/InkStainStudios. Nothing to promote quite yet. God is still in the works. The thing I'm developing for Scion has been announced, but just nothing to talk about yet. Everything else is NDA'd, so back the double feature. They Came is a great line. I am purposely making the game line's name wrong to annoy Dawkins. And that's all I've got.
I'm Hiromi, they, them. You can find me on Twitter and TikTok at Hiromi Cota. And I think I'm in a gap between Kickstarters because Cthulhu Awakens wrapped before we filmed this. They Came from the Cyclops Cave, and Classified is probably either wrapped or wrapping nowish. And I have many more Kickstarters and projects to announce, but I don't think any of them have entered that state since the last show. So stay tuned. And so stay safe. Don't catch COVID. It's, horrible. Do what you can to avoid doing so. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.